In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to make a very simple place value chart. We're going to look at different values that you can add to your chart. We're also going to look at how you can create one for each page so that you can make it large enough to place on your wall. We're going to start by adding a new presentation. For the simple place value chart, I'm actually going to leave the slide size as is. I'm going to change the layout by going over here where it says next to new slide, and I'm going to just choose blank. And then I'm going to go to insert table, and I'm going to have one row for the labels and one row for students to write in or write on. So we're going to do 3 columns to start with. We're going to have our ones place, tens place, and hundreds place, and then a space under each label for students to write their numbers or their values. So let's go and click on the different table options, and we're going to choose the no style. Then I'm going to go over to layout and adjust the size of the cells. So for the entire thing, I want to adjust the width to the entire page. So let's move that over. Okay, that's great. And now we're going to adjust this top row, and I'm going to increase that size so I have space for the labels. And then the bottom row, I'm going to increase all the way down the page. So they can write students can write their numbers very large, or you can write multiple sets of a number to go in these different place values. All right, so now we have our basic template for our place value chart. Want to make sure it's centered. So now for the labels, I'm going to insert a text box. You can type right into the table, but I want to be able to move around the label how I want to, so I'm going to insert a text box instead. And then I'm going to change the font and the size. Let's start with 40. I'm going to start with the word that has the most letters just to see where I want the font size to be, and then I'll do the words with less letters. So this one's going to be the hundredths place. So I'm just going to put hundredths. So I like the size of that. I'm going to duplicate that and put it here and change this to tens. And then duplicate this again and change it to ones. So I'm going to go back to, let's click on the table. And I'm going to go back to layout and decrease actually the size of that first row. And then for the bottom row, I'm going to increase so that there's more room for the numbers. Definitely adjust that section how you want. If you want those labels to have more space, make sure you do that for yours. So there's our basic place value chart. So now I'm going to duplicate this slide. Again, with your keyboard, you can hit Command D if you have a Mac, or Control D if you have a PC, or you can right click with your mouse and go to duplicate slide. So we've duplicated it. I'm going to highlight this cell on the left, right click, go to insert, and then insert columns to the left. And that adds one other place, and I'm going to add in the thousands place. So I'm going to move this over. I'm going to decrease the size of the text box. Let's duplicate the hundredths. I'm going to add in thousands. And then I'm going to select all of the text boxes and decrease the size so that they're all the same. But I want to make sure the thousands and hundreds fit into each box. Let's actually hit that again and move those over. The hundredths text box I can decrease and center it. And the tens. And the ones. Before we move on, let's go back and let's highlight or darken the outline of our table. So I'm going to select the table. Actually, let's select it here. Go to table design. We're going to go to pen color. I want it to be black. I don't want it to be 6 point. I don't want it to be that dark, but I do want it to be 3 points. And then I'm going to hit on the borders button. I'm going to hit all borders. So everything around has been thickened. The width of the lines have been thickened. On the next one that we did that included the thousands, I'm going to select the table design again. I like the 3 points, but this time I don't want everything to be 3 points. I want the ones between the tens, ones, and hundreds to stay 1 point. So I'm going to select the outside borders, see how that looks. And then I do want under the labels to be thickened. I want those lines to be thicker. So I'm going to go back and hit 3 point. So it has the pen. So I'm just going to hit the thousands, hundreds, tens, and ones lines. And then I'm going to select or click on the line between the hundreds and the thousands as well. So we have some of the lines thickened, and I wanted to put a line here to separate the periods. So we have the period that includes the ones, tens, and hundreds, and then we'll have the period that has thousands, 10,000s, 100,000s, and then eventually millions. So this one is done. So I'm going to duplicate, Command D. So on this page, I'm going to add in a column to the left. So now we're going to add in the 10,000s. So let's go ahead and select these labels so we can lower them. I'm going to move them over and decrease the size. Then we're going to duplicate the thousands to create a 10,000s space. Okay, leave that there. For this one, I'm going to bring these down. And then I don't want the line between the 10,000s and the thousands to be darkened or I don't want that line to be thicker. So I'm going to highlight those two cells, go back to table design, click on 1 point, pen color, and then hit that line that's in between them. So let's duplicate this page. I'm going to highlight the last cell on the left, insert columns to the left, and repeat those same steps so that I can create a 100,000s place, and then I'm going to create a millions place. And there's our place value chart where we have the millions, 100,000s, 10,000s, thousands, hundreds, tens, and ones place. I'm going to outline this line to separate the periods of the thousands, 10,000s, hundreds from the millions period. And then the last one I'm going to include the decimal places that students work on in 4th and 5th grade. So tenths, hundredths, and thousands. For this last one, I'm not going to include 10,000s, 100,000s, and millions. So I'm going to delete those labels. and I'm going to move these over. And then I'm going to include these three, just move them around. And then add a TH to each of them, the words, to represent those decimal places. And then again, select them all so I can lower the font size so that all the words fit in their spaces, in their text boxes. So there we have it with our decimal place value as well as our whole number place value up to thousands. So another option can be putting each place value on one page by itself to make your place value chart larger so that you can place it on your wall somewhere in your room or somewhere at home for students to use. So for this one, we're going to actually open another new presentation. I'm going to change the layout to blank. I'm going to go to Design, choose my default color settings, go to Slide Size, Page Setup, change the width to 8.5 inches and the height to 11 inches. Scale up. So for each page, I'm going to have the place by itself. So I'm going to go to Insert, Table, and I'm just going to choose one column with 2 rows, one row for the label and 1 row to write the numbers in. Let's change it to a no style table. I'm going to move this up. Go to Layout. I do want it as wide as the page, so I'm going to increase the width as much as I can and then center it. And then for the top row, we're going to increase it, and the bottom row we're going to increase all the way down the page. So then for the top row, I'm going to insert my text box. And I'm going to change my font. Let's use a different font. And let's start with a 54 font size. Center it. I'm going to start with the word that, or the place value that has the most letters. So let's start with 100, thousands. And I want it to be larger than this, so I'm going to make it bold and then increase the size. So I know for the layout, I do want to increase the height so that fits there. So now on the bottom, something got changed when I increased the top, so let's just hit the bottom part of the second row. Let's increase the height of that second row again. There's the basic page for the place value of the 100,000s place. So I am going to duplicate this and I'm going to change this one to millions, and then bring it down towards the bottom. Let's bring this one down towards the bottom so that they're all the same. Actually here, let's go back up with the layout. Let's bring that up. That works better. So let's delete this slide and then duplicate this one all over again, and then change this to millions and then bring it down. So there's our millions, and we're going to move that up, and then we're going to duplicate our 100,000 so that we can write in 10,000s. Duplicate that, erase the 10 and just have thousands, and move this down. Duplicate that for our hundreds. So let's keep going until so we can do our decimal places. And thousands. And of course you'll make the changes to your chart based on the standards that you are working on in your grade level. So one way you can look at them all together is if you go up to your ribbon and click on View and then click on Slide Sorter. You can see all your pages together. And if you just decrease the size, you can see them going all the way across like you would on your wall or somewhere in your room. Now I want to add a little bit of flair, add some color to this. You can definitely leave it blank, not blank, but you can leave it white, black and white, or with the black line. Let's have some differentiation between the place value period. So I'm going to make each heading a different color. So I'm going to go back to normal view and then home. I'm going to click on the table design. And then for shading, I'm going to choose the colors in my default settings. You can choose any color that you want. I'm going to make the millions this color. And then for the thousands periods, I'm going to make them all the same. Let's go back to table design. And I'm going to do the next color over. I didn't want the bottom one. There we go. I didn't want that bottom part to be shaded in. So just this top part. Let's just move that over and click here. Table design, shade in. And then we're going to move this back. Okay, so one last time, I'm going to look at them all together by going to the ribbon, go to View, and then go to Slide Sorter so I can see how they'll look. Definitely adjust the colors based on how you want, or if you just want them to have that black line on the white background, you can do it that way as well. So let's finish up by saving our PowerPoint and then saving them as a PDF. So I'm going to go to File, Save As, and save. Then we're going to export it as a PDF. It will keep the same name, export. And we're going to do the same thing with our other place value charts that we created. We're going to save the PowerPoint. Then we're going to export as a PDF. They're both exported now, so let's go look at our item. So here is the mats that we just created, or the pages with all the charts on there. Definitely add in any color or clip art that you want for them. And then let's go back and look at our individual pages. So there's our individual place value charts. I hope this tutorial helped you with creating your own place value chart to work for your students or your children at home. All right, day 3 is complete. You now know how to create your very own simple place value chart, one for students to have individually or one that you can place somewhere up on a wall. Remember, you can find any of the printable math resources that I'm showing you how to create all in one place by clicking on the description box below. And as always, if you found this video helpful or you think it will help someone else, Please like it by hitting the thumbs up button and subscribe to my channel. And if you want to be notified as soon as the next video is posted, hit that notification bell. See you tomorrow for our day 4 video tutorial.